You shouldn't have a civilized society, a rich society, in which people have to sleep in the street. I mean, that's just a scandal.
My name is Guy.
I'm Vicki, and this is Las Vegas, Nevada.
My name is Ron Hurd. We're in Austin, Texas.
My name is Scooby, and we're in Springfield, Missouri.
My name is Larry Hubbard, okay? I'm originally from the 13 wall around St. Thomas Project.
A lot of people are one check away from being where we are, and it's not nice. It's not nice.
The American dream to me is to have your own place, to be independent and be able to function in this society today. That's what my American dream is.
From what the media says, you know, that we're all, you know, alcoholics and, you know, addicts, but I mean, yeah, there's a good number of us that are that way, but not all of us are.
What I do for the community, I run the Tenderloin walking tours. And the folks in the Tenderloin call me, oh, that's the brother that brings the white folks to the Tenderloin. And I do. What I try to do is bring everybody together. You know, you folks need to meet my folks. You need to feel our pain. We need to feel your pain. We need to understand you. You need to understand us.
People need community. People congregate to be with others who are like them. That's just, that connection, that attachment is a basic human need. So you have then accumulations of people who share the same misery, but at least they share it.
My name is Dale Seymour. Sitting here in the middle of the Tenderloin, which is my community. I spent 30-odd years here in one state or another. Almost like you go to Vegas and you say, hey, I did Vegas. Well, I did the Tenderloin from A to Z. What I do, it's like if I would take you on a tour of the forest. You can't see the forest unless you pick the leaves up. That's where the life is, under the leaves. So what I do when I take you on a tour, I pick the leaves up. I show you the real Tenderloin. Because you can look at these buildings and the people, you have no idea, you don't have a clue. And as you look across the street, you see upstairs, that's the only sweatshop we got on this side of the market. You got two behind your buildings, but this is the one we got. Hey guys, hey, how you doing? Okay, Ben. Good to see you, bro. The unique thing about this federal building here is that during World War II, as you all know, the end of the war was fought in the Pacific. So she's been a memory glide 30 years. So this is her room when she would come to here to the floor.
So isolation has characterized their lives. And now, of course, because of their clothing and the way they might smell, or the way they might look, they're less than average appearance or different than average appearance. They're shunned, which just reinforces their sense that they don't belong.
And don't look at all of us as, you know, there's the people you see in the Tenderloin mid-market, they're not all dope fiends. They're not all drug addicts. They're not all whores. There's a lot of reasons that people are down here. You get 10 people, you have 10 different reasons why people are down there.
Few minor things could happen to me and I could be homeless. And I've had a job for 25 years. But I could get mental illness. I could become the victim of domestic violence. I could have a health problem that would deplete me of my financial resources. And I could be homeless. No one should be homeless. And you know, society should do whatever they can to ensure that people aren't homeless.
I've been homeless since 2000, I don't know, a long time ago.
Solving the homelessness problem doesn't present any intellectual or policy difficulty. We know how to do it. There's no trick to ending homelessness.
I was schizo a little bit.
Take a breath and face your fear to leave. And you can take when you have learned to give. The lessons learned that tells you clear and loud. It's no good for you. It's no good for you. Your sleep makes you dizzy, too cloudy to find the truth of your heart. His face haunts your mind. So take yourself back home and get some sleep. You're trying way too hard now, paths left to see. With a mind full of grief, no thoughts there to keep. So take yourself back home and get some sleep.
There are growing similarities between the Great Depression and what we're seeing now. The official unemployment figure at that time was 25%. But in fact, in places like the San Joaquin Valley, one of the richest agricultural regions in the world, the unemployment rate in some of the towns is 40-50%. So in fact, it's greater than during the Great Depression. And I've noticed recently in my travels more and more people out on the roads. I've noticed kids in particular traveling around with everything they have on their backs. I've noticed people on bicycles. So it's getting actually to look more and more like the Depression. It's pretty frightening, actually, because it's not being addressed.
I used to work at UPS and I broke my back. And since then, I've had problems finding work until one day I just said, fuck it. Because I'm screwed now. I'm couch surfing. I'm nowhere else to go. It's too late now. So now I'm out here. Now what can I do? Hey, I'm Boggs, and we're at the Drag in Austin, Texas. You know, people are psychologically not prepared to get themselves out of a situation like this because everything they're taught going through school about how the world works, everything they're taught about how things go and things, it's whatever formulates in their head from all this information they're getting is just, it doesn't really prepare them. It's not always accurate.
It's such a manipulative tool to say, well, homelessness is because this number of them are left-handed. Homelessness is because this number of them are, from a rural community. This number are drug addicted. This number are mentally ill. What is it they all have in common? Oh, we wiped out affordable housing funding. And that created homelessness. Mental illness existed prior to 1983. Racism existed prior to 1983. A drug addiction existed prior to 1983. That isn't the homeless issue, because those issues existed before we had the massive homelessness that we have today in America.
After the 80s, it exploded. Large numbers of people were pushed out of this housing system completely into the streets. And that was a direct result of Ronald Reagan's zeroing out funding for low-income housing. They ended rental housing production programs for families, 1983.
When I was 18, I went to prison. I was in there 6 years. When I got out, goddamn, no one wants to hire a felon, dude. And then when you get out, dude, you gotta start over, dude. Birth certificate, ID, Social Security job, dude. Without any form of ID, you can't even go to fucking day labor, dude. My name's Travis. I'm from Austin. Dude, on a cool, the American dream would be whatever the hell you want to make it, dude. I love America, dude. Yeah, there's some parts of the system that are fucked up, dude, but it's just like life, dude. It's what you make of it, man.
If you look at what are called social indicators, the kind of measures of the social health of the society, up until the mid-70s, they kind of tracked growth. So as the country got richer, social indicators got better. It starts splitting in the late 70s. Growth continues, not as high as before, but it continues. But social indicators decline. By the year 2000, they were back to about 1960.
It makes sense, right? The general wages and living standards of working class and poor people have stayed constant or declined since the late 70s. The numbers of people who need housing have grown because of the growth in the population. The supply has not grown to nearly the same extent. Low-income people all over the country have been squeezed out of the bottom.
When we talk about a systemic issue, when we look at poverty, when we look at homelessness, when we look at racism as a systemic issue, the individual makeup of the various subpopulations of homeless and poor people and shit mean nothing. It's what do they have in common? What's impacting all of them? Because that's what our governmental structures were set up to address. The government wasn't set up to fulfill the needs of every single individual. Government was set up to fulfill the needs of a community. And in order to do that, you have to look at the needs of the community as a whole. Homelessness isn't that complicated. It's somebody who's living without housing. So it's not rocket science. They try to make it seem complicated because the feds would rather, and a lot of the corporate foundations would much rather study it than address it. But it's really simple when you break it down without housing. Like, that's pretty simple concept. What's most important is to go from the heart. Does it feel right to you that this is happening with so many people? Does it feel right to you that there's more mentally ill people in San Francisco jail than in San Francisco Department of Public Health mental health programs? If that don't feel right to you, do something about it.
If there's one homeless person in the country, it's a bad problem. And it's not one person, it's massive. You can't drive through the city and not see it. Whose responsibility is it? Anybody who thinks they ought to live in a civilized society.